Okay, think about this for a second. What's the very first thing you do when you wake up? I'm gonna bet it involves reaching for this little rectangle of glass and metal. We're all kind of hooked, right? But what would actually happen if you quit your phone? I'm not talking about for an hour, I mean for 5 entire days. Well, someone actually did it. And what they learned is, well, it's pretty mind-blowing. So, this is the big question we're diving into. And, it's about way more than just will I get bored? It gets into how our brains work, our friendships, how we literally see the world around us. So let's get into how this whole experiment went down. All right, so the ground rules here were no joke. The smartphone, locked away. Gone. No cheating. For any real emergencies, the SIM card was with a friend. And every single thought, every feeling, every little observation, all of it went into a diary. Plus, there was a camera there to capture the whole journey. This was the real deal. 5 days, totally and completely offline. So, what's the first thing that happens when you unplug? Well, those first couple of days were a serious shock to the system, and they revealed some things about reality that, honestly, we're probably missing every single day. Just imagine this. It's day one. You wake up, your hand does that automatic thing where it reaches for the nightstand, and there's just nothing there. No notifications, no news feed, no mindless scrolling. What do you even do? For him, the answer was literally nothing. He felt so purposeless that he just rolled over and slept for hours more. Wow. And this is where it starts to get really fascinating. He's just having a conversation with a friend, someone he's known forever, and then something just clicks. Without a phone there to pull his attention away, he's actually looking at him, seeing the details in his face, his expressions. He said it was like he was meeting his friend for the very first time. Isn't that wild? And this pretty much says it all, doesn't it? On the left, that's a conversation with a phone nearby. We're half listening, just trying to get to the point. But on the right, without the phone, it's a completely different world. You're not just hearing the summary, you're present. You're noticing the small details, getting the full story. You're actually truly connecting. And that led to this massive realization. He always thought his phone was just a tool to fill the boring gaps in his day, waiting in line, sitting on the bus. But what he discovered was the complete opposite. The phone had become the main event, and his actual life was just getting squeezed into the tiny little moments that were left over. Okay, so let's move on to day 3. This is the part of the story where something as simple as a phone call turns into this huge lesson about what it really means to connect with another person. 28 minutes. That's how long the call lasted. A call that, let's be honest, would normally be what? 2 minutes? Maybe 3 tops. So what on earth was happening in those other 26 minutes? This is the breakdown he came up with. See, almost every call we have starts in this template zone. It's the, hey, how are ya? Good, you, what's up? And then you hit it, that awkward silence. And that is the exact moment most of us say, all right, well, talk to you later, and hang up. But he had nowhere to go, so he just stayed quiet. And everything that came after that silence, that was the real conversation. And here's the secret he unlocked. The key wasn't about talking more. It was just about being willing to listen. By simply staying on the line, he was sending a message that said, I have time for you. I'm here. And it turns out people have amazing stories to tell. They just need to feel like someone is actually there to hear them. But day 4 brought a total curveball. It turns out that just getting rid of the phone doesn't magically fix everything. The real problem, he discovered, wasn't the phone at all. It was something inside his own head. And there it is, the big twist. We love to blame the phone, don't we? We say it's the addiction, it's the problem. But what he realized is that the phone is just a symptom. The real source of the problem is our brain. He even gave it a name, the corruption of overuse. And the idea is pretty powerful. Basically, our brains can take anything, even a good thing, like resting, and turn it into something negative if we do it too much. Our minds are wired to seek out stimulation. And if they can't find it out there, they start creating it themselves. Think of it like this. After a while with no phone, the brain starts to get really bored and it goes looking for entertainment. And if it can't find drama on a screen, it just starts making up its own by judging people, gossiping, creating little conflicts. It basically starts producing its own internal reality TV show. It's a crazy thought, right? So if the phone isn't the real villain and our brains are just going to do what they do, then what's the answer? Well, the final day of the experiment led to a much smarter, much more balanced solution. So the huge takeaway wasn't to just throw your phone into a lake. It's about being more intentional. Simple things like maybe trying a two-phone system, one for work and one that's just basic. Or creating really simple rules like no phones after 5 p.m. But the real goal, the thing that changes everything, is what you do with that time you get back. You use it to explore. So maybe the objective isn't just to use our phones less. Maybe the real objective is to become more of an explorer. Not just of mountains and oceans, but an explorer of conversations, of new hobbies, of our own neighborhoods, even of our own thoughts. It's about filling that empty space with curiosity, instead of just defaulting to a screen. So I'll just leave you with this one question. Forget about 5 days. What if you just put your phone down for 1 single hour today? What conversation, what idea, what little corner of your world is just sitting there waiting for you to discover it? What would you explore?